You are watching Morning Musings with Reinhard von Hennigs, chairman and founder of Bridge House Law in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Will drone taxis, sometimes also known as eVTOLs, become a reality soon? Hello, this is Reinhard von Hennigs. This question I asked a few musings ago in the year 2021, and there is now some development, especially in light of the 2024 Olympic Games. The Baden startup Volocopter wants to have its innovative aircraft to take off at the next Olympic Games next year. Until then, there is still a few planning and especially hurdles to overcome. But the founders are now very optimistic that this will take place. The founders have been planning to participate at the Olympic Games for quite some time. They opened a hangar in the presence of a whole squad of German politicians. The air taxi manufacturer Volocopter is still waiting for approval for their new and upcoming, or maybe already currently developed aircraft, which is able to take off and land vertically. However, the electric aircraft should make their premiere at the Olympic Games in Paris next year. This is from today in less than 500 days. The company CEO Dirk Hoke said in an interview the other day, "I'm sure that we will be the first in the world to fly commercially." Well, maybe it'll come true. Maybe it is right now a marketing understanding. According to the German Ministry of Transport, a type certificate is required for this kind of passenger operations. The European Union Agency for Aviation Safety, which is currently examining the VeloCity model, which expects operated pilots to be on board in the first half of 2024, which means after the so-called air traffic operator certificate is granted, the pilots had now a way to fly a Volocopter. So what is Volocopter? Volocopter is a privately held company. It is split between different investors. It is headquartered in Bruchsal, which is in the state of Baden-Württemberg. It also has offices in Munich as well as in Singapore. The main market is primarily urban air mobility. So air traffic service by itself is designed to provide a new mode of transportation for those folks in the city who are frequent dwellers of fast and efficient travel needs within the city, within urban areas for short distance. The company plans to initially launch this as an air taxi service in several high-density urban areas. So what for a great start would the Olympic game be? Volocopter is also targeting applications for their technology with regard to cargo delivery and even up to emergency services. Can you imagine being airlifted out by one of those electric drones when the access is maybe blocked over the traditional roads, or maybe the accident happened too far in the remote area where traditional cars cannot make it? There are multiple tests being around, but who's behind Volocopter? The main investor is Daimler AG, Geely, and Intel Capital. So this company raised significant funds and are offering an interesting outlook in what the mobility future could be. If Volocopter is in the market after the successful air flights, it is rather a first development. The fast development started in the year 2019 when the first public flight took place with an air prototype out in Singapore. And if air traffic is worldwide ready for it after the Olympic Games, this may be the main kickoff and commercial operations to follow soon thereafter. But are there any challenges right now? And if so, what are they? Number one is regulatory. Air taxi industry is heavily regulated. It involves the regulation in the different countries where the operation should take place. So local, national, and international regulations with regard to air safety need to be followed. Volocopter for beginners must obtain a certification from the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, EASA, to operate air taxi services inside the European Union. Number 2, infrastructure. The air traffic industry requires a robust infrastructure, including landing pads and charging stations. The typical charging station question is also the same for electric vehicles, but it adds to a different dimension when an airplane may just drop down from the sky when the battery is empty. Very different from a car which just stops driving. But also maintenance is a topic. How do you train? How do you make sure that all those electronic taxis are properly maintained? Number 3 is technology. Is the technology ready for this? And future will show this. Number 4, customer acceptance. Can you imagine for yourself to fly? Is the customer ready for this experience? And lastly, funding. How is funding possible when the initial raise was done to show that the air taxis are ready, which was a development theme, but now you need to talk about the above-mentioned infrastructure, airpads, training, and you name it. So in addition to the market readiness, there are also regulatory arguments or regulatory scenarios which Volocopter must follow. It boils down to airspace regulation. As number 1, it goes down to licensing, that all the proper pilots need to be licensed. It boils down to insurance. How can you insure such a new risk? What are the passenger rights? Volocopter must comply with EU regulations related to passenger rights. So if you are dumped by the airline and your flight cannot take place, is this the same rule applicable for Volocopter? And lastly, number 5, environmental regulations. What regulations would impact the operation from emission standard as well as from noise pollution? But most important, back to you. Would you fly a Volocopter? Would you use Volocopter for your cargo movements? I am, in any case, excited to the Volocopter, hopefully kicking off next year at the Olympic Games in Paris.
Thank you for joining us today. If you would like more information about British House Law, please visit our website at bridgehouse.law. Before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more up-to-date content. British House Law, business-minded, client-focused.
Whether you're a private citizen, an international business leader, or simply someone eager to stay on top of the latest news, this book is a great way to get caught up on the most recent developments in the worlds of international business, tax, politics, and social affairs. Go to morningmusings.com and order your copy today.